Well, welcome back, everybody. Thank you, Gayan, for that enlightening presentation. I know I'm really looking forward to seeing a bunch of you, I hope, at the upcoming trade show season. The first time in a couple of years now that we are all able to attend in-person events, and I know I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually going to be at like 10 different trade shows, so lots of opportunity to see you out there in 2022. So I'm going to change the topic here and start talking to you about point of sale systems and how to, choose and know whether or not the point of sale system you're using is right for you. So over the years, I know many people consider POS to be a necessary evil. And I would counter that while I agree it really is necessary, a good system really should be far from evil. But that is kind of the mentality in a lot of cases. And um, so it's very likely that every one of you that is listening to Climb today already has a POS system. And most of you are using a POS system that's provided by your pharmacy system vendor. Now, my presentation today isn't about whether or not you need a POS. Because I've already said I think that it is absolutely necessary. But it's really about helping you determine if your existing POS system meets your needs and how to help you evaluate those needs to find the best solution for you. Now, I know all of you are looking at me saying you're the CEO of RMS, a POS company. And it would be disingenuous for me to say that I don't think that we have the best POS solution for the pharmacy industry. It'd also be disingenuous for me to say that I don't hope that this presentation convinces you to take a look at what we have to offer. However, I can say with certainty that we aren't the right fit for every single pharmacy out there. So my focus today is really on helping you determine if your existing system is a good fit using framework that you can use as your business changes and grows over the years. Because you may outgrow your existing system at some point in the future. It may be fine for you now, but down the road, it's not. So this framework will last and last and last. So um, let's talk a little bit. I realize that most of you focus your business decisions on the script side of the business. Now, there are a lot of pharmacies really evolved. In 98, when I started this business, the traditional big front end pharmacy was the lay of the land. Here in our headquarters area, we had 5 traditional independent pharmacies that all had at least 5 to 8,000 square foot front ends. And 10 years later, they were all gone. And today there are 5 independent pharmacies again, but they're all apothecary nature with small front ends. So as time changes, we have to evolve in business, and you have to evolve as well, and you have. And so those big front ends aren't necessarily, they're not nearly as many as there were. So many of you are really focused on the script side of the business, and you've spent a substantial amount of time deciding on what your pharmacy system needs to be to meet your needs. And in many cases, when it came time to choose your POS, you simply just went along with whatever the PMS, the pharmacy system vendor had to offer. And as I said, and when I started this company in 98, there were actually 10 standalone POS companies that were servicing the pharmacy industry, 10 major ones. Today, RMS is really the only remaining player that actively is trying to service the independent pharmacy marketplace. And what's really happened during that time frame is that almost all of the pharmacy management system vendors are now offering some form of a POS solution, but they've really commoditized POS. And during this presentation, it's my goal to show you why POS really isn't a commodity, that all POSs are not the same, that POS doesn't need to be considered evil, and that a good POS saves you time and makes you money and pays for itself. So it isn't really, shouldn't be just considered an expense, which takes me to the next part of this presentation. Is how do you consider your POS? Do you consider it an asset or do you consider it an expense? And I'm not talking from an accounting perspective because on the books, it's an asset. But how do you actually look at it? Because a good POS really should not be an expense. You should be considering it. You should be able to consider it a valuable asset to your business. So I have a list of a few things that I think you should be thinking about as you're looking at your POS. Does it help improve the customer experience? So in October of last year, I wrote a CE credit for NCPA that appeared in the NCPA America's Pharmacist magazine. And it talked about managing your front end. And one of the things that I found in researching for this article is what drives consumers to come into a business and what keeps them coming back. And the number one thing is how that business makes them feel. Now, and this starts from looking at the exterior of the building. It continues as they walk through the door. How does the pharmacy look? How does the business look? How does it make them feel? Of course, then it's impacted by the experience they have, by your staff. And the point of sale can have that impact as well. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a bit. Okay, improve staff efficiency, allowing your staff to do more important tasks. That's what a good POS should do. It should reduce your costs by saving you on credit card processing fees. It should also make you money with ancillary services. And most importantly in my world is it should give you easy to evaluate data to make better business decisions. I don't know what I would do without the data that I have in helping me make the business decisions that we make here at RMS. And I think that data, you have to have it to make really good business decisions. So if your POS isn't doing all of those things, those 5 things that I just listed, then it's time to ask your vendor, how can you improve your usage so that you can do those things? Or if they can't do those things, it may be time for a change. So let's take each one of them step by step. When I started talking about improved customer experience, I gave you an example, the CE credit that I wrote for NCPA. And as you think about when that person gets to the POS, think about some of the POS systems that you've seen in retail. And there are some really awesome looking systems and really easy customer experiences, right? How does your POS stack up against those? Does it look like it's 1960s technology? How does it handle efficiency-wise? What is the consumer experiencing? How easy it is to get their scripts? How easy it is for their signatures? How easy is it for processing credit cards? Is it fast? Is the experience make them feel like they're back in the 80s or 90s or early 2000s? Is your POS vendor able to keep current with current hardware and current technology? Those are things that the consumer sees, and it can really set you apart because they're having these experiences in all of these other retail environments. How do you stack up against that? Can you offer curbside delivery? And can you do it where they can pay right there at the curbside? For those of you who offered drive-through, do you have an easy solution to capture the signatures that makes the consumer feel like they're in the current century? And then are you doing delivery? Delivery, as I've talked about in many Climb events, is becoming, I would say, almost a necessary evil here because of your competition with the world of Amazon and what's come of that. And can your system handle delivery, and can it help you provide additional items that are very profitable along with your prescription delivery? So those are some things to be thinking about because that customer experience is what brings these people back in the door. And if it's a negative one, then they may not come back. And your POS can be one of the factors involved. Okay, the next one was improve staff efficiency, allowing them to do more important tasks. So this is one, that maybe hardest for you to recognize, but how easy is it for with your point of sale to create orders, receive orders, do price updates, do shelf labels, do inventory? A lot to cover. I have done many after climb events where I talk about and break these things down into pieces. But let me just ask you this. Are you still getting the order in the back, checking it in, putting price stickers on the items, and then putting the items out and updating the price in your POS as you do that? Because if you are wasting an inordinate amount of time and energy that could all go away with a better POS solution or utilizing what you have in a better manner where you decouple price updates from the receiving process, and you simply get those items back out on the shelf. You will save an incredible amount of staff time, freeing them up to do much more important tasks like improving customer service. So I'm going to leave it at that. But that is, if you are still stickering your items, it's time for a change. Okay, reduce your costs by saving on credit card processing fees. Now, most POS vendors, most pharmacy system vendors require you to use one processor. They're the one that they've interfaced with. Here at RMS, years ago, we chose to be processor agnostic. So we currently process with every major credit card processor that can handle FSA cards. Now, there are processors out there, and you have to be really careful about this when Joe Processor walks through your door and offering you an amazing rate and doesn't know anything about pharmacy, because the processor they may be representing can't process FSA cards, which is basically a must in this day and age. But we process with every single processor. Now, last year we came out with RMS Pay, and with RMS Pay, we in the process of telling all of our customers, we came out with this because we believe we can save you money. And if we can't save the customer money, then they stay with whomever they want. If we can save them money, we switch them to RMS Pay, and we do an annual evaluation with them to ensure that we are saving them money. You should be able to save money with your credit card processing fees. We have yet to find one customer, as we've been going customer to customer, we've yet to find one customer that we can't save them money. We found one where we're saving $500 a month, $500 a month in processing fees. That's not everybody. Some we only save $20 to $50 a month. But it can make a difference, and we should be helping you do that. Okay, make you money with ancillary services. Notice I say make you money. Okay, on this very first one. Even if you're an apothecary that only has 100 items in your front end, we have, last year we introduced RMS NutriButler. And NutriButler is where we have interfaces to two different databases that, based on the NDC number of the drug that you're selling, our system then will come back using one of those two databases to tell you that this customer needs to take CoQ10 or needs a vitamin or something to help them due to a side effect of the medication that they're taking. It pops that at the screen. It allows you to print it. It allows you to talk to the customer and upsell them on something that can make them feel better and can make you profit. One of our pharmacies is a small apothecary that carries about 20 of these vitamins and supplements. And they have increased their sales by $10,000 a month and their bottom line at $5,000 a month just on those 20 products. It's doable. And Your POS should be able to help you do that. That's how it makes you money. And it improves your cash flow. it improves your inventory turns. These are all things I'll be talking about again here in a moment. Now, in a less direct way, it should help you make money by doing things like being integrated to give you an online presence. So does your system integrate with Pointy from Google? It should. And even if it doesn't, you can still use Pointy from Google. If you don't know what that is, I don't have time to go through it, but if you don't know what it is, just Google it and it'll explain it. But basically, what Pointy does is it's monitoring the things that you're selling. And if a customer or a consumer goes to Google and says, Tylenol near me, it's going to pop you as one of the businesses that, if you're selling Tylenol, is one of the businesses that is selling it near them and might drive foot traffic your way. Okay. E-commerce integration. Now, a very small percentage of pharmacies are currently doing e-commerce. One of the reasons is it's always been difficult. Having an e-commerce integration that's simple and easy to use is going to become more and more key to your success in the future. So does your point of sale offer e-commerce integration? Because that's additional revenue that your system can make for you by having that simple integration. Okay, and then the last one of the areas, but I think actually to me is the most important, and they're all important, but provide you with easy to evaluate data so that you can make better business decisions. Okay, so it needs to provide you more than just end-of-day reports that you provide to your bookkeeper and accountant. So many people, that's the most important thing to them, okay, is getting that out there. And it is important, obviously. But you need a system that is easy, that tells you, hey, these items aren't selling. That means that they're hammering your cash flow, and they're bad. They're a bad investment. Get them out of your store. So an easy reporting to show you that. Then also easy reporting to show you which of your items, based on the department, category, fine line, however you want to look at these things, which of these items is doing best and where can you improve? Which departments are doing best? Which departments are doing worst? And not just by the amount of money, the profit that they're sending to your bottom line, but also looking at how they're turning. And the most important number of all, which very few people look at, is that gross margin or gross profit return on investment, which tells you for every dollar you have invested in this department or this item, this is how much you're getting in return. So your system really has to be able to tell you those things, and so that you can make better business decisions. Okay, so that was a lot in a short period of time. And now you really have to reconcile the things I've mentioned with what your business goals are. So I've given you a bunch of things to think about. And now you need to think about what are your goals for the future with your business. And I'm not talking about the reasons why you might want a new POS, but what you actually want to achieve in your business. So things like, I want to improve my cash flow. I want to reduce my inventory turns. I think I want to expand my DME department. I want to offer more clinical services. I want to improve customer service. These could all be legitimate goals, and they're all part of you may have many of those as goals. So as you've set those goals, ask your POS provider what tools they have in their system that can help you with those goals. You simply may not know about many of the products and services and features that your pharmacy management or POS system vendor is offering that may be able to help you with any one or more of the goals I listed and the myriad of other goals that you could have. So ask and see if they can help you with those things. And if they can't, evaluate other systems that can. Now, you're going to want to look at core functionality, some of which I've already talked about. But when you're looking at the point of sale solution and you talked about and asked about those 5 areas that I talked about, and you've started to evaluate whether your POS can help you in those areas and help you with your goals, you also want to look at, how do these things align with core functionality of these products, and how does it work with growing in the future? So how flexible is your system to handle things as your business changes? Does your pharmacy system or your POS system integrate with other pharmacy systems? Let's say that you're using a POS system that's not the pharmacy management system's POS. In the future, if you decide to change pharmacy systems, does that POS system interface? And how many other systems does it? Does it limit? Are you now going to be forced to make that other business change? Both of the systems have to change. And what other partners does your POS system integrate with? What other systems and types of systems? Does it do drug-induced nutrient depletion recommendations? Does it do e-commerce? Does it do those types of things? How difficult is it to scale with hardware? How frequently do they offer hardware solutions that look modern, that are up to date with current technology, that keep your business looking like it's a current business, that can continue to use the most modern functionality that's available? Scalability, how will the system grow as you grow? How easy is it to add on registers? How easy it is if you buy, NCPA Digest says that the average independent pharmacy now owns 2.5 pharmacies. So how easy is it for you to scale multiple locations and have them communicate if that's something that you would like to be able to do? How easy is it to add on additional programs, things that you might want to do down the road and not doing customer loyalty today? How easy is it to add customer loyalty? Do they have customer loyalty? How easy is it to add delivery? Do they have delivery? These are things that you should be asking about and thinking about, because as we all know, we have to adapt and change as the world adapts and changes. And the question becomes, how progressive is the point of sale system vendor that you're using? Are they ready for these things? Can they do them now as you need to change and as you expand? Of course, your profitability and cash flow are imperative to you. They make the difference between you staying in business and being out of business. So what tools does your point of sale have, even if you're not using them, if you decide to use them in the future, to help you improve sales, improve foot traffic? So I've already mentioned the drug-induced nutrient depletion, the pointing from Google, e-commerce, customer loyalty, delivery, curbside. These are all things that you should be asking about and thinking about. The front end, I've mentioned this and we're talking about this. I know that a lot of pharmacies don't think a lot about their front end, especially those of you that are apothecaries, but I've already talked about how you can use your POS to make money. That customer that has just 20 has hundreds of SKUs, but is just using 20 to drive supplement and vitamin sales at a huge profit. Efficiency and time savings I mentioned as well. Think about things like will call management. And how easy is that? And we've mentioned curbside and delivery and reporting, all important things. Compliance is another area of concern. Do they do MPLEX? This is for ephedrine, pseudoephedrine. How easy is that? How easy is it to work with the PCI mandates? How easy it is for you to fill out your annual applications? What kind of setup is your current POS vendor using for credit card processing? And all of this, when it comes down to, you've got now this system and you've spent a bunch of money for it, because POS is hardware intensive, so it makes it a more expensive product than, say, your pharmacy management system. It's not nearly as hardware intensive. So what kind of ongoing knowledge and training can you expect from that point of sale vendor? What kind of training do they give when they're onboarding? Is it tailored to your pharmacy? Is it standardized? What kind of processes in the future as you have turnover of your staff? What can they offer you to help you bring those staff members up to speed? And then finally, an area that we're hearing so many complaints today about is customer service. And this is not just in the pharmacy world. This is across the board. We've all seen a massive reduction in customer service experiences just in about every industry. What does ongoing support look like with your current vendor? Here at RMS, that's one of the most important metrics that makes it up to me on a monthly basis is what our response times are to getting to getting with our customers on issues, and then what the resolution times are. These are managed and looked at on a monthly basis, and the beauty is all of those metrics for you, for your business, they're available to you online, real time, through our portal, so you can actually see where we stand overall and where you stand in comparison. Uh, we think we have the best support organization in the industry. So folks, these are some of the things to be thinking about. I hope you found this to be enlightening, helpful. There's some, I think, some good tools here, some good food for thought. If you have questions, please reach out. I'm more than happy to talk about your scenario. And then I look forward, I hope to see all of you at one of the many trade shows that I'll be at well, starting next month and going all through the summer and into the fall. So I'm really excited, and thanks for being with us here at Climb again. And I look forward to seeing you next month. Cheers, everyone.